This summer, whatever you're watching, baseball, golf, soccer, racing, DraftKings has you covered for every single moment of it. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states, bringing the game straight to your fingertips wherever you are. From Florida to Texas to California, you're in on the excitement at the speed of sports. Follow every buzzer beater, every walk-off, every photo finish. Sweat the moments that matter in real time with a seamless experience built for the biggest season of the year. No matter where you're watching, you're always connected and in the game with one app. New DraftKings customers, sign up with code SCOUT. Spend $5 to get 115 rewards within 14 days. Includes all markets. That's code SCOUT in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms at dkng.co/predictions promo.
Episode 8, the Ocho. I wore number 8 in Pop Warner football. High school football is my favorite number because of Troy Aikman. Used to be a Dallas fan. Still a Dallas fan. You guys will not let me get rid of the Dallas Cowboys. It's like once a Cowboy, always a Cowboy. I can't shake it. Maybe I'll come back, though. Maybe if they start winning this year, maybe I'll jump right back on the Dallas Cowboys bandwagon. But I never left. I put in a lot of sweat equity. I put in a lot of pain. I put in a lot of time. I guess I just freeze my account. If I want to unfreeze it at any time, I can. I just don't want to put that evil on my son. Anyway, episode 8, this is the intro. So let's hit that. First off, as I see people coming into the chat, too deep for the intro. There's some breaking news in the NBA world. The NBA schedule is released. The Knicks are obviously the toast of the town and the kings of the NBA universe, and the king of basketball is going to face off against the Knicks, so we'll get into that. Also, I want to hit you with a couple things from Major League Baseball. Some teams are going up. Some teams are going down. Some performances are going up. Some performances are going down. Of course, this is a Yankees podcast every time that we get on here because I'm a Yankee fan and you're a Yankee fan. We will hit on the Yankees game last night and where the Yankees seem to be headed or going with injury updates and what needs to happen with the hitting and the pitching and everything else in between. Of course, the Yankees are in the news with something outside of baseball that everyone's talking about today that involves a private equity firm. And then that'll take us to a bulk of this episode where we talk about Mark Walter and the Lakers and Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. And then we'll finish off with some NFL talk ahead of the preseason games that will kick off tomorrow. So, episode 8, The Keith McPherson Show. This podcast is streaming live on LinkedIn for the first time. We're on YouTube right now. We're on Twitter. I swapped out the Instagram because it's just got the vertical look and I don't get the chat, so we're not going to do that. And then obviously after this show, I will upload this to the podcast, Spotify, Apple, and wherever else you get your podcast. So without further ado, The Ocho, episode 8. Let's get into it. Hit it. On your mark, get set, go. Always on go. It's the Keith McPherson Show. You already know. I got to find something that kind of rocks with the flow. Like, I got to rap when I come in. I got to have some, like a couple bars every episode that rhymes with the Keith McPherson Show. It's easy. I just did it. Go, flow, Don't you know, Robinson Cano. Let's get into it with breaking news in the NBA. Russell Westbrook is calling it a career after 18 seasons. Russell Westbrook has been an MVP, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist champ, 9-time 8-time NBA All-Star, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 9-time All-NBA, All-Rookie First Team, 75th Anniversary Team, all-time triple-double leader. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'll say this about Russ. A lasting image from this past season was Russ in Sacramento going at the media. And, I think these players more than ever pay attention to the media and what is written about them. I think these players more than ever are just keen on articles and columns and the press and where these journalists are, what they're tweeting out, what they say about these guys. And I remember Russ kind of getting at the Sacramento media, which I'm sure is a small group, and someone like directly about you don't know what goes on here. You don't know what goes on in practice. You don't know me. And that's it for him. That's it for Russ. But, hey, good for him. I know he's got kids, and they're coming up and they're growing up. He's had a great career. It was a lot of fun to watch. And happy trails to Russell Westbrook, who bounced around on a bunch of different teams, never actually made it to the New York Knicks, never made it to Brooklyn. But, yeah, congrats to him. Bing bong. Now, speaking of the New York Knicks, the NBA schedule is out, and here are a couple highlights. I was on Fox 5 News yesterday with Antoine Lewis talking about the Knicks schedule. Here's the first one. Breaking news, the Knicks will host LeBron James and the Sixers on Banner Night, October 20th on NBC and Peacock. Let's get ready to rumble. You know what? You can't even say that, let's get ready to rumble. You got to be careful with that. Because the dude that came out with that let's get ready to rumble, he's got it trademarked. Michael Buffer, I don't know how many times at WFAN I got emails about that. Like, yo, do not do that on air. Do not impersonate him. Do not do any segments or anything and start it off with that. So act like I never did that because I don't want any smoke with him. But speaking of smoke, the King will be living in New York. It'll be a short commute for him, to get to Madison Square Garden. The Knicks will raise the banner over the Philadelphia 76ers heads. They have knocked them out 2 of the last 3 years. They swept them last year. Knicks fans have gone down there to the Wells Fargo Center and taken over their building. So it's juicy. It's salacious. The NBA script writers are cooking. They know what they're doing here. You got Jaylen Brown over there, LeBron over there, and the ticket prices are already insane. The ticket prices that I was seeing are like $2,200 to get in, to sit on the roof, to sit up there in Madison Square Garden, where it's like you might as well watch from home. You get a better view. But, yeah, the Knicks are the kings of the NBA. It's good to be king because now you see, like, they're leading coverage. They're also going to face off here. I spoke on Jaylen Brown. Here's the first Prime Video games that Friday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. It'll be Knicks versus Celtics. And obviously there is a dynamic there between the Celtics and the Knicks, a rivalry, a local feel. But I don't think it's going to be the same as it once was. I mean, we'll see what they turn into. We'll see what they look like this year. But really what it is Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson and the Celtics host the Knicks on October 23rd. And you'll be interested to see Mitch then. Assuming he's healthy and he's ready to go, you'll be able to see your guy Mitchell Robinson on October 23rd at the other garden, the TD Garden. Last but not least here, schedule makers cook for Christmas Day. They're putting that matinee game. I think Christmas is on a Friday. They're putting that matinee game on, Spurs versus Knicks at 12. I don't know. Christmas is a tough day because, and I'll take this down, Christmas is a tough day, especially if you have kids. You're opening presents, depending on the age of your kids, you might be getting up at the crack of dawn. You might be getting up later. You might be having breakfast, brunch. And now the NFL has games on Christmas too. So Christmas is jam-packed. And the NBA used to own Christmas. You see right here in front of you, they included the NFL game that, the Spurs and Knicks are at 12. Then the Packers-Bears are at 1. Heat versus Celtics 2:30, Bills versus Broncos at 4:30, Sixers versus Lakers at 5, Thunder versus Wolves at 8. Then you get Rams versus Seahawks 8:15, Nuggets versus Warriors at 10:30. If you're like me and you love hoop and you love that pigskin, I'm not going anywhere all day anyway. TV's going to be on, and it's going to be on basketball or football, NBA or NFL. So one time for the NBA and NFL kind of sharing the holiday and figuring out how to schedule their games, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Rolling right along here. I think there was one more that I wanted to include for the Knicks. And I saw people complaining about the time of the game, right? I don't really think that matters. Like, it is what it is. That 12 o'clock Christmas game, the Knicks do those games regularly. Maybe not on Fridays, but like they have Saturday, Sunday matinee games. Here's one. 76ers or Knicks versus 76ers opening night. Then they're at the Garden at the Celtics on the 23rd I told you about, but here's the rest. Keeping with this theme of, LeBron living in New York and coming to the East Coast, joining the Sixers so they could dethrone the Knicks. The Knicks will face off with the 76ers on October 30th, which is the NBA Cup tip-off. Then they're at the Pacers for the NBA Cup group stage on November 13th versus the Cavaliers on November 25th, which is also NBA Cup, but Thanksgiving Eve. Then they face Bam Adebayo and Giannis Antetokounmpo on November 27th, Black Friday versus the Heat, and then Spurs on Christmas Day, like we said. So there are a lot of games on holidays. I mean, we're going to get there fast, folks. We're already about to be halfway through August. It's August 12th. I can't believe it. I mean, this year is flying by. This has been a crazy year for me, a blessed year for me, a different year for me. Make sure you don't live the same year twice. That's my message for y'all today. If you're living the same year twice, you're living wrong. You're living wrong. So as far as the NBA talk goes, I think that's pretty much it. Westbrook retired. The schedule is out. And we're going to hit a slate right here. And then when we come back, we will shift right into some MLB talk. Sound good? See the pacing? We're 11 minutes in. I got to keep a certain pace here. Make sure that these shows are 45 minutes. I've been having good conversations with folks about not just studios, as I've done this in multiple studios. And even if you look at my home studio, it looks a little different now, right? I'm changing the lighting and the blue lighting in the back. But I've been having some good conversations about where podcasts are going, business around podcasts. And I feel blessed that, like, at this current point in time, I even have a podcast, because for the last 5 years, I did not have one for myself. You guys know me. If you guys were on this channel in the beginning, it started off with Talking Nets, the Brooklyn Nets podcast. I also did 3 different Yankees podcasts, from Bronx Pinstripes to Pinstripe Strong to BXB. And so today, to be doing the Keith McPherson show at my home studio and have prospects for other studios, e-commerce, simulcasts, and stuff like that. Everything happens for a reason, and what is meant for you is already yours. So let's hit this quick slate, and then we'll transition into some Major League Baseball talk.
It's the Keith McPherson Show.
So my boy Jaden hit me, and he was like, yo, why don't you drop a beat as you transition into a different segment? So there's the beat in the background. And now I bring to you some conversation around Major League Baseball. Here's the MLB talk. I already said in the intro that, like, MLB talk is going to be mostly Yankees, but I have a couple other things to add in there too. So let's bring the music down and let's do it. Okay, first thing on the agenda here in the MLB talk, I wanted to give this kid props. I don't know how many times I brought this kid up in regards to, like, Anthony Volpe, but then also in regards now to George Lombard Jr. Okay, follow me here. Jacob Wilson. Are you guys familiar with Jacob Wilson? Son of Jack Wilson, former Major League Baseball player. This kid just went out there and set an MLB record Sunday with his 111th straight errorless game at shortstop. He might still be going, but he surpassed Mike Bordick, who was at 110 in 20 '02 with the Orioles. And I remember watching this kid as you look at Jeff McNeil in his face, in his way. Jeff McNeil, get your old ass out the way. Let this kid play. But speaking on Jacob Wilson, son of Jack Wilson, and if you watched the All-Star game last year, you saw those two together. They had a great moment. I remember looking at Volpe and saying, like, why is it so hard for Volpe? There are other guys that come up as shortstops. This kid had one of the highest batting averages in baseball last year. He might still be up there. I haven't been following him like that. But then he's also a slick fielding hitter. He's also he's a great hitter, and he's also a slick fielding shortstop. There's the word I was looking for as I'm trying to see if he's still – I'm going to bet that he's still up there somewhere in batting average. I'm sure that, they learned how to pitch him. But I was impressed with the kid. And it's usually, these guys like this that come in the league and they're young. And you know what? I said the same thing about George Lombard Jr. They're ready for it. The stage is not too big for them. The lights are not too bright for them. Like Jacob Wilson grew up in clubhouses. Jacob Wilson grew up going to ballparks, playing baseball, standing in the batter's box when he was wearing diapers. Same thing with George Lombard Jr. There's something about these kids in the bloodlines. It's smart to draft kids whose dads played. Like I just saw Jim Thome's son was drafted. CeCe Sabathia's son was drafted. Carl Crawford's son plays for the Phillies. We can go on and on. Just look at the Yankee team. Cody Bellinger's dad, Clay Bellinger, played for the Yankees. Ryan Weathers' dad. I'm sure I'm blanking and forgetting somebody else, but there were other guys on the team where they had the father-son connection. The bloodlines, they run strong. So as that's one guy that's ticking up, here's a guy that's ticking down. Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens on if he was surprised to be pulled after 65 pitches on Tuesday. Not really. If I were the manager, I'd probably do it too. Wish I could have gone more, but it is what it is. Skeens' fastball averaged 95.7 miles an hour, down 1.2 miles an hour from his yearly average. There are some reports that are saying that he gained weight. Usually they say more mass, more gas. That was a CeCe Sabathia thing. It also could just be, hey, like we're in the dog days of the season, man. We're getting to the point of the season. Like the deadline is passed, and it's tough to go out there every day and compete at a high level, especially like in Pittsburgh with a guy like Paul Skeens. It's like, what are you actually playing for? Obviously you play for pride, but what I'm saying is let's take a look at these standings. Like they're I think they're on the cusp, but they're never good. And as dominant as he is for the last 3 years, it's tough. So let's look at the wild card right here. They're 6 games out of the wild card. They're most likely not going to get there. But let's look at the National League since I have that up there first. Go Cubs, go. Look at the Chicago Cubs, 70 wins. And they're sitting at 70-50. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 64-57. The San Diego Padres are 64-57. Those are the 3 wild card teams right now. And then if you look, and then the Phillies are tied with San Diego. They're right there too if you look. And then if you look at the division leaders, all these teams are over 72 wins. The Milwaukee Brewers with 74, the Atlanta Braves with 72, the Dodgers with 72. It seems like after Dave Roberts spoke, the Dodgers have gotten right. Now let's go up to the American League as we transition to talking about the American League East and your New York Yankees. Tampa Bay, they keeping on. W8 next to their name. They didn't lose to the Athletics last night. They're 73-46. The Chicago White Sox are 61-57. The Houston Astros are 61-60. Those are the leaders in the East, Central, and West. And then when you look at the wild card, the Yankees are 67-52. They're up 7.5 games. The Boston Red Sox are 64-55. They're up 4.5 games. The Yankees have put 3 games of space on them, which is great. And we'll get to that in a second as the Texas Rangers are 60-60, a 500 team in that third place spot. Now, I think a couple episodes ago I talked about maybe the Yankees falling to that third place spot to kind of dodge other teams, to dodge our own division. But I'll say this: it's not the math isn't looking like the Yankees are going to fall that far. If they're up 7.5 games right now, the Rangers would have to play really good baseball, and the Yankees would have to play really bad baseball. And I don't expect that with the Yankees, how they're playing now, and knowing that Belly and Judge and these guys are coming back. Let me put the comments on the stage. So I see you guys in the chat right now. Not going to ignore you out there. I'll put them right here. Yeah, the Yankees are starting to take. The Yankees, they're winning some games right now in this new George Lombard, Luis Garcia, Heliot Ramos era. It is a different group. It's not the same group. And it's interesting because we came into the week, right? The Red Sox were riding high Friday. And so we came into the week. I had 2 shows on Sunday, and I was talking about how hot the Red Sox have been and how we might be in danger. Well, what goes up must come down. Boom. When I say what comes up must come down, the Red Sox have lost 4 in a row. Losses from July 2nd to August 7th, they only lost 3 games. Losses from August 8th to August 11th, they've lost 4. And you love to see it. You love to see it. I mean, I love to see it. I low-key called it, too, because there was a tweet out there where I think my guys at Everything Yankees wrote something like, the Red Sox look like they're headed to the World Series. And I was like, I don't think they're going to keep this up for 3 months. The baseball is going to baseball, and the baseball is baseballing. And it's just tough. It's just tough to keep winning at that rate. It's tough to keep winning at that rate. But good for us. Adley Rutschman makes his debut for the Red Sox. The big acquisition that they gave up everything for at the deadline, they still lose. Shout out to Toronto Blue Jays, but not too much, because we don't want to root for the Blue Jays. Because as I was showing you the standings, let's not leave that out. Toronto, last year's American League East, American League winner. If you take a look at Toronto, they're 58-63. They're 2.5 out of a wild card spot right now. They're not dead yet. They might be coming along. They might be figuring it out at the right time. So the way I see it, the Yankees got to just continue here. Continue to stay afloat, tread water, win series. They've done that. And speaking of winning series, tonight, if they're able to get another win here against the lowly Mariners, who have just lost 5 in a row, and I don't know what's up with Cal Raleigh and those guys, but that's none of my business. Tonight, the Yankees will send Will Warren to the mound versus Bryce Miller, looking to continue to find ways to win low-scoring games. It just is what it is. Yesterday, the Mariners bring in a right-handed pitcher in the 7th inning, and the Yankees were ready for it. Right, Randy Arozarena hits that solo shot off Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers has been great. Let's do this for a second before we get into the game, because I wanted to give him some love. I think we talk a lot about the Yankees pitching. Right, shout out to Everything Yankees again. Yankees trio of aces dominated one of baseball's best offenses this weekend. Going back to the Rays series, Fried, Cole, Schlittler. The offensive struggles had been well documented, but these horses are going to give you a fair shot in October, right? I mean, against the Atlanta Braves, who could represent the National League in the World Series, all of these guys went over 6 innings. All of these guys kept it under 2 runs. Cole gave up the 2 runs, but I'm not even mad at him. I put some of that on Ramos. Schlittler gave up the 1 home run to Matt Olson. I'm not mad at him either. Matt Olson's like that. But there's a conversation about adding Ryan Weathers to this mix as a 4th starter in the postseason, if need be, over Carlos Big Money Rodon. Carlos Rodon is returning. He's doing another rehab start tomorrow with the Somerset Patriots. But I did want to give Ryan Weathers some love because he was getting no run support. He was leading Major League Baseball. I think he had 8 outings of 0 runs with no run support, which was at the top of Major League Baseball. So, yeah, the Yankees win 4-1. And that 7th inning, they just get it going. And Ryan McMahon was the one to hit the single to take the lead, and I wanted to give him some love too. Sorry, I had to sneeze. On WFN on Sunday, I was saying, please refresh your information. I feel like people don't do that enough. Refresh your information. We were all saying Ryan McMahon sucks the first couple months of the season. We're a long way from that. So Ryan McMahon, since May 18th, 153 plate appearances. He's slashing 243, 301, 450 with a 751 OPS and a 109 weighted runs created plus. Not to mention his stellar defense. McMahon has been excellent for almost 3 months now, and not to mention the clutch gene. As much as we wanted to say Trent Grisham has the clutch gene, this guy has walked off games for us. This guy has won games for us. This guy hit the go-ahead run last night, and it kind of opened the floodgates. So, yeah, in that 7th inning, Trent Grisham gets some. As I was going in on Trent Grisham last episode of this show saying he can't lead off anymore. He was saying, shut up, Keith. I'm the best option. I got a 705 OPS. He goes out there. He has 2 hits, 2 ribbies last night. Hey, I will say less for now. So the Yankees get it done behind Tim Hill, Brent Hedrick, and David Bednar. Solid. No complaints. I'm not tripping off of what they've been able to do in this short amount of time without star players. Cody Bellinger is progressing. Stanton we saw running the bases. And here's my guess on when they'll return. Belly, 8/21, because that'll be just at the 4-week mark, and that's his bobblehead night. Stanton, 8/25. I just put it right after, but obviously with roster constraints, rosters don't expand until September. Like, I'm not sure who would go. I'm not sure who's getting sent down with Belly and Stanton if they're both here before September. But then I put Judge as September 8th. I just think Judge has to get back by that Colorado Rockies series. The postseason starts September 29th. So that's 3 weeks for Judge to get acclimated, for him to get up to speed. Aaron Boone said it's probably reasonable to expect that Cody Bellinger, Giancarlo Stanton, and Aaron Judge return in that order. Belly is not too far off, but still dealing with some tightness. There's a chance Stanton will need a rehab assignment. Okay. Belly has been warming up in the outfield. He's been doing some work. Stanton running the bases. Okay, they're on their way back. Help is on the way. And we're on our way with this show. So here is the news that kind of came out today that has some people talking with your New York Yankees. Private equity has entered the Bronx, Morning Brew reports. The Yankees and Apollo Sports Capital have struck a $2.6 billion financing deal. Mix of credit and equity intended to refinance existing debt. Apollo Sports CEO to join Yankees board. The Steinbrenners will retain full control. Okay. I'll say this. Actually, I won't say this. I will allow someone to speak on it before I speak on it. So let's go to a clip courtesy of Foul Territory. My guys over there, shout out to them. They've had me on that show like 10 times. Here is Ken Rosenthal speaking on the $2.6 billion infusion between Apollo Private Equity and the New York Yankees.
I don't know if they had to do it, but what they wanted to do from the reports that we're seeing, the one in The Athletic and others, is restructure their debt and pay off some of their debt. Refinance, restructure, pay it off. So that's the goal here, that they wanted to do that. They've always had stadium debt that they've been concerned with. So this will help them in that regard. And also, it will help them in what they are calling other ventures. I don't know what that might be. The average fan is going to want to know, and rightly so, does this mean that the Yankees will have a higher payroll or be able to spend more? Well, first of all, if a salary cap is coming, then payrolls are going to be capped anyway. But even if there is no salary cap, and I frankly don't expect that there will be, I don't know that Hal Steinbrenner is going to operate the team any differently based on this private equity money. And what the private equity firm gets is a stake in the franchise that is worth $1 gazillion. And if the Yankees ever get sold, they get a return on that.
The Yankees aren't going to get sold, but I did just see that the Yankees are evaluated at $10 billion. $10 billion franchise. They are the, most expensive franchise, the most valuable franchise in baseball. Now, before I give my quick thoughts on it, here is something that you guys should go read from Evan Drellick. Shout out to him. Super smart guy, baseball guy. Had him on my show, I think, back when we were talking about the lockout. He wrote a book on the Astros cheating scandal. The Yankees were valued at close to $10 billion in the Apollo deal. So I'll read a couple. I'll read a couple paragraphs from Evan Drellick's article for those of you that can't get it. I think you can get it though. I have The Athletic, but I think this is through. Let me see. Will it allow me to? I logged in on my phone. Okay, it will. Okay, let me just read a little bit of it, and this will give you the information that you need. And I don't act like I'm some type of finance knowledgeable guy in this. I'm a football, basketball, baseball, sports guy. But is baseball booming or failing? The Yankees' record valuation fuels the debate. Can everybody see this in the back of the class? Can you guys see this? Let me make myself smaller so you kids in the back can see. Apollo Sports Capital's $2.6 billion investment in the parent company of the New York Yankees shows Major League Baseball business is doing well, but the health of the baseball industry, and by extension what the Yankees deal with the private equity firm says about it, remains hotly debated as the players and owners barrel toward a lockout that could threaten the 2027 season. Think about that. We're headed towards a lockout. The Apollo deal, announced Tuesday, gives the firm a mix of equity and debt in Yankees Global Enterprises and values the baseball team at close to $10 billion, according to two people briefed, yada, yada, yada. That appears to be a record valuation for an MLB team in a realized transaction and fits with the upper range of estimated values the news media had given the club. Sportico this spring estimated the Yankees to be worth 9.4, Forbes 8.5. How Steinbrenner and his family maintain control of the Yankees Apollo's percentage stake in the team was not disclosed, but per MLB rules, it cannot exceed 15%. It's unclear exactly what motivated the Yankees to sell at this moment, be it the valuation they received or a different desire for increased cash on hand. But it's also unclear how the Steinbrenners intend to use their newfound dough, but player representatives hope it will be used to add more talent. It's great for the fans and the sport to see a team take an aggressive step to compete, said Joel Wolf. Sidebar, Joel Wolf is Giancarlo Stanton's agent and Yoshinobu Yamamoto's agent. The constant drumbeat from the commissioner's office complaining about baseball's decline has become stale. The one thing that this indicates is that the appreciation of baseball franchises has been immense in the last 6 months to a year, said another top agent, Scott Boras. Private equity is not paying $2.6 billion for a small percentage of the Yankees unless they're doing quite well. The private equity analysis is strictly based on profit. Okay, so with all of that being said, business is business, and even when they talk about other ventures, the Yankees have concerts like the Jay-Z concert there. Maybe there's some Jay-Z fans in Apollo that were like, yo, we saw that. We want to get in on this before Jay-Z does it again next year. NYCFC still plays there. I think next year their new stadium will open in Queens. But regardless, like the Yankees Global Enterprise, European soccer they're involved with. I forget what the team is that the Yankees are connected with. Not Arsenal, right? Yankees soccer ownership. AC Milan. So I'll say this as well. So many people, and you know what? It's interesting, the timing of this, as I was hearing about Tarek Skubal and everybody still crying about the Dodgers, and how I think Kaser was just talking about how other teams had offers out there for Tarek Skubal, but the Dodgers only wanted to take that deal and didn't give anybody else an opportunity to counter. They took the deal early, they were done. And so there's conspiracy theories about this collective bargaining agreement and how, the Tigers did that because that's just another chip on this isn't fair. Look at the Dodgers. Look what they can do that everybody can't do. But they can do a lot of things that everybody can't do. And I remember being on the radio and people saying, Keith, don't say that. The Yankees have more money than God. They could do whatever the Dodgers. I'm like, no, they can't. The Guggenheim partners are a private equity firm. They work in all that investment banking and all of that stuff. It's nothing for them to play games with these contracts and defer the money. You know what I'm saying? And so I remember, someone calling me and saying, if the Yankees wanted to get involved and figure stuff out like that, they could get in touch with someone at Goldman Sachs or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but like maybe they don't want to, and they're not run like that. And it's a family business. It's a Steinbrenner family business. It's not Guggenheim Partners, all these rich partners. Well, maybe this Apollo deal is the first step in saying, hey, we want to know what they know. We want some people on our board that have that expertise. We'll sell you a stake, and now you're in our board of trustees, and you'll help us out the way that Guggenheim Partners has helped out the Dodgers. So that's all I've got on the baseball, but stay tuned. It segues perfectly into the next thing that we're about to talk about in the wide world of sports.
It's the Keith McPherson Show.
Okay, there's my beat. I was like, where my beat at? Okay, we'll use the beats to transition here. Still a little bit of MLB talk here. But really, we're going to get into a few things. This is where I wanted to go next. Okay, so stay with me here. More breaking news as I put up the breaking news banner from today. The Lakers shockingly sold to Josh Kushner, Bob Iger for a historic $12 billion. Ramona Shelbourne reports the Los Angeles Lakers are being sold to American businessman Josh Kushner and Bob Iger for a record-breaking $12 billion. Kushner and Iger were involved in the expansion process in Las Vegas, but a stunning turn. They pivoted to make an aggressive offer to buy the Lakers from Mark Walter, who had purchased a controlling interest in the team from the Buss family last year. The Buss family just sold the Lakers last year for $10 billion. Mark Walter, as we transition out of the baseball talk with the Dodgers and the Guggenheim Partners, Mark Walter is one of the owners of the Dodgers. He's under federal investigations right now. He is getting subpoenaed. He is getting his phone records checked. Let me see if I can find, what exactly they're investigating him for. Billionaire financier and sports team owner Mark Walter is the subject of an ongoing federal investigation by Manhattan prosecutors and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission regarding undisclosed related party loans taking over $16 billion to $21 billion tied to his insurance companies. Something's fishy. Something smells fishy. Something fishy going on. I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust Shohei, Ippei, any of them guys. So, yeah, with that being said, right, as we go from talking about the Yankees, private equity, the Guggenheim Partners, private equity, Ramona Shelbourne reports that the Lakers have been immediately flipped and sold. Seemed like Mark Walter was like, yo, let me get this off my hands. This is not what I want to do right now. And shout out to my guy, Cody Decker. Cody Decker writes on Twitter, remember when Walters gave the president a World Series ring while under federal investigation and 2 weeks later sold the Lakers to his son-in-law's brother for $12.5 billion? Yeah, me neither. With the "this is fine" meme under it, with the "this is fine" gif under it. So shout out to Cody Decker, man, going out there and just calling it as he sees it. I would say, like, this is above my pay grade, but this is not a good thing. There's definitely some more stuff going on. You might have heard about how Kawhi Leonard had a deal with the scoreboard company in the Intuit Dome, and he was getting paid, and how Jeannie Buss and the Lakers said, yeah, he tried to ask us for some improper benefits too, and we said no. man, this white-collar crime at the highest levels of all of this money that goes on, it goes on every day, folks. While the rest of us, we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to make ends meet. We're just trying to get by. They're doing crazy stuff. All right, so let's get out of the breaking news. And let's finish here in this last 5 minutes with some NFL talk. I need like a boom, 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 like whistle blowing for NFL talk. So sticking with here comes the money. Big theme of the show today. Jerry Jones. Sportico. Jerry Jones. I mean, if there's one thing Jerry Jones can do right, it's this. They can't win anything. But there's one thing they win every single year. The evaluation. Sportico once again named the Dallas Cowboys as the most valuable franchise in sports, listing their value at $15.5 billion. Jerry Jones' franchise has been the most valuable franchise in sports. Every iteration of Sportico's valuation, like that's every year. Every time they do the evaluations, the Dallas Cowboys are up there. Now, you may say, hey, Keith, F the Cowboys. We don't care about the Cowboys. You're a stupid Cowboys fan. Hope you enjoy your franchise being worth all that money. I don't. I said on air the other day, I don't even go out there no more. I'm so far detached from the Dallas Cowboys. I haven't been to Jerry World since 2015. How much can you love the team if you don't go see them play at home for 11 years? They're not in my heart. They're not in my heart. They broke my heart and stepped on it. But here is the, I'll pull up the Sportico chart for the most valuable franchises right here. And take a guess. You guys think the New York teams are in there? Of course they are. Top 10 most valuable NFL franchises. Dallas Cowboys are 1. Los Angeles Rams are 2 at $12.7 billion. The New York Football Giants at 3 at $12 billion. The New England Patriots at 4 at $10.4 billion. The Jets are up 3 spots to number 5 now. They're at $10.35 billion. Woody Johnson. The Philadelphia Eagles are 6 at $10.31. The Miami Dolphins are 7. They never win anything, but hey, football team down in Miami, they're worth $10.25, coming in 7th place. The San Francisco 49ers are down because of that power plant. They're worth $10.2 billion. They're coming in at number 8. Mark Davis, the Las Vegas Raiders, 10.1. They come in at 9th. And then Arthur Blank-Check, the Atlanta Falcons, at 9.78. All right, we're running out of time here, folks. Let's move this thing along. So going from that to, the NFL money, and the NFL is king. My guy, Kenny Pickett, Front Office Sports reports that the NFL Hall of Fame game averaged 7 million viewers. That's more than the most viewed MLB game so far this season, where Field of Dreams is coming up tomorrow on Netflix. We'll see how many people watch that. I think it's Twins versus Phillies. But anyway, that's more than any MLB game this season and any NHL game last season, including the entire Stanley Cup final. So, yeah, America's obsession is back, NFL football. And with that being said, here is the slate of games that you can watch tomorrow. Boom, 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 boom. Whistle, whistle, whistle. Thursday, August 13th, the Lions versus Bengals at 7 p.m. Packers versus Steelers at 7 p.m. Colts versus Patriots, 7 p.m. as well. Then the 8 o'clock slate is Chargers versus Texans, Cardinals versus Raiders. Probably can catch them on NFL Network. And if you're listening or watching this in other markets outside of New York, maybe you can catch those on your local channels. Last but not least, in our NFL conversation, congratulations to Kyler Murray. Wow, Kyler Murray. Good for you. ESPN sources the Vikings have named Kyler Murray their starting quarterback. Because that boy 9, he ain't it. That boy 9, he ain't got it. He ain't it. So they're going to let this little bugger run around. They're going to let this little rascal have a go at it. And I don't know. I have no faith in Kyler Murray because the NFL guys just get bigger, stronger, faster. He's undersized. He's injury prone. But the one thing I'll give him is he's with KOC. He's with Kevin O'Connell now. So being with Kevin O'Connell now, maybe he's in some luck. And I'm waiting any minute now to hear that Deshaun Watson is the starter in Cleveland. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to that quarterback battle. There's not too many quarterback battles going on in the NFL. Now, I don't know if you guys are watching Hard Knocks either, but the last episode of Hard Knocks that came out last night, they were showing Sam Darnold and how many revolutions he puts on the football, how good he is at spinning the football. And I'm like, my first thought is, I can't believe the Jets drafted this kid and didn't keep him, didn't develop him. He's talking about how he's been practicing throwing and he would throw the ball up in his bed as a kid. And I'm like, they picked the right guy. They just moved on from him too soon. So shout out to the Seahawks and Sam Darnold and Shedeur Sanders. Hold your head up. They're saying Shedeur getting frustrated with how that competition's going. But I'll say this. Here's the take. Deshaun Jackson is former Eagle. Deshaun Watson, the masseuse madman, they're paying him so much money, they have to try to get a return on that investment. And for Todd Monken, they're setting it up where once he fails, then they can go to Shedeur for the rest of the season. That's all I've got for the rest of this episode. I've got to head into the city for Mitchell and Ness. If you guys use TikTok, I will be on the Mitchell and Ness live stream, pushing jerseys, authentics, trying to get you guys some deals. They sent me a couple of things that are coming my way tonight. So if you're into, authentic jerseys, football jerseys, basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys, follow Mitchell and Ness on TikTok. I'll be live on there tonight and Friday. I'll also be at the Yankee game tomorrow, Thursday. I'll see you out there. I'll probably be doing some content, bopping around. We'll do another episode of this show on Friday. And I'll be back on WFAN Sunday and next Wednesday. So that's all I've got. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Actually, let me give you guys a couple minutes here in the chat. I don't want to just completely dip out and not acknowledge the chat. I've been rolling on these episodes. You see, the time-wise, I've been trying to get out. There was a couple things in the chat that I did want to highlight. My guy Kevin said, you got to stick with the boys, Keith. It's a life sentence when you pick a team, unfortunately. I can stick with them. It's nothing for me to reach in my closet and pull out that Troy Aikman jersey. I don't want to do that to my kid. And I also don't want to influence my kid because he wants to be like daddy. And if he sees daddy wearing Cowboys gear, he's going to say, Daddy, I want a jersey like that. And I'm going to say, no. Kevin Ayala says, voice of the youth. I appreciate that. I'm aging backwards. Aaron said, cool t-shirt, Keith. Start spreading the news. My guy Chris Sachi is in here. What's up, Chris? Hope everything is going well. We're getting some LinkedIn chats. Max says, I'm just afraid private equity will start to private equity the Yankees, raising prices and stuff. Don't be worried about that. The prices are already high. Jack and Cheese says, Keith, it was great to be at the stadium last night. George and Garcia have restored my faith. Yes. Keep the faith. Let the Yankees cook. Let this team take. There are some different guys in this bunch, and there are some guys coming back. Last night was roomy K-pop Demon Hunters bobblehead night. I passed on that. All right, that's all I've got. Again, that is the outro. And you guys know how I end this. Man, if you're on YouTube, hit like on YouTube. If you're on LinkedIn, hit like on LinkedIn. It's the first one I've done on LinkedIn. Business. We're going to do some business. I was doing some business with some guys, and I saw them post on LinkedIn today, and I was like, yo, why don't I go live on LinkedIn instead of Instagram? So without further ado, stay blessed, stay up, and stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. I'm out. Later.
Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. New DraftKings customers, sign up with code SCOUT. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 21 days in partnership with DraftKings. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms at dkng.co/predictions promo.